Recognize Mr. Garcia of Illinois.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, and of course the witnesses for being here today. Last week at Midway Airport, located in a densely populated neighborhood in Chicago, a Southwest Airlines flight had to perform a go-around to avoid a jet that had crossed the runway. I'm sure that most of you have seen the disturbing video. The FAA and NTSB, of course, are investigating, and early reports indicate that the jet crossed the runway without authorization to do so. I'm grateful for the Southwest airline pilots and their actions to avoid a potential disaster. It's another harrowing reminder of the importance of upholding strong safety standards in our aviation system. This includes updating obsolete equipment. The surface surveillance radar used at Midway Airport is composed of parts that are no longer being made, forcing the airport to look for replacement parts from other airports. Mr. Daniels, in your testimony, you highlighted your union's work with the FAA to fast-track the surface awareness initiative. This initiative would reduce the number of runaway incursions at airports. Can you talk about why collaboration between your organization and the FAA in this initiative is so important, and why funding upgrades to infrastructure is critical for safety?
Congressman, thank you for the question. It is a great example of success. When two parties get together and actually go out and procure a piece of equipment that we agree is needed and necessary and fits the bill instead of it being purchased in advance and then given to us and say, can you make this thing work? That is what usually sets us behind day in and day out. But our involvement was making sure that it was going to not only suit the controller's needs, but it could be also rapidly deployed, given the proper long-term funding at the other facilities that is needed as well that don't have any level of a surface awareness.
Thank you for that. Next, I'd like to discuss troubling reports that the FAA is looking to cancel a contract with Verizon to design, build, and operate. A few of my colleagues have addressed this, the FAA's new communications platform, and to replace it with Elon Musk's Starlink. If that's not corruption, I don't know what is. Canceling this federal contract will bring costly litigation and show the work already being, and it will slow the work already being done. Where is the efficiency in that? Elon Musk's meddling with the federal workforce has also caused fear among air traffic controllers. Roy Guerrero, an air traffic controller at Midway, for example, is concerned about the threats to his livelihood. He received an infamous Musk email asking what he accomplished last week. What's he supposed to reply? Why is an air traffic controller entrusted with the lives of the flying public in one shift being asked this question? We need to be hiring as many air traffic controllers as we can to meet the increasing demand for air travel. We need to be acting with the urgency to improve our aging infrastructure, not breaking contracts. Mr. Daniels, how damaging would a delay to the FAA's Enterprise Network Services program be to aviation safety?
Congressman, thank you for the question. Every time that we have delays associated with a lack of equipment, it reduces the capacity at the airport. Everything from telecommunications to the normal equipment that we access and use. We'll either have to figure out a way to work around it. Can we mitigate that risk? Because that's ultimately what safety is about. Can we mitigate the risks that are in front of us? And if we can't mitigate that risk, we have to begin reducing the capacity of the actual airspace to protect and preserve the safety of the American flying public.
And could I add to that, thus the urgency of moving ahead with the legislation that we've passed here on a bipartisan basis to ensure that the flying public can continue to have confidence in our system?
Congressman, I know that I stand shoulder to shoulder with everyone that's on this panel of applauding this committee's work on the FAA reauthorization of 2024, and we cannot derail that progress now by focusing on anything else than the crisis at hand.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels, all of the witnesses, and with
next.
that, I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Gentleman yields. Mr. Decent.